Hi guys, it's CalamitiesDawn here and welcome to another episode of Minecraft 1.21. So, continuing on from last episode, I decided I was still going to do a lot more exploring. I ended up finding this little chest area, which I think is to do with the archaeology mod, and then continued on and decided to go and find a mineshaft. And that led me to my first ancient city. So I've never been in one of these before ever. I've been absolutely too terrified to do so. I've seen enough YouTubers tackle these so that I have somewhat of an idea of what I'm doing, but I'm still quite nervous going into these. Here I am trying to be very cautious. Eventually, as I go through, I stop being as cautious as I have been here. But yeah, I also should probably preface it, the reason why the ancient city has, I believe, some structures that are different, like this central part, than the normal ones, is because I have Young's Better Dungeons on. So it could be because of that. I don't know. Or it could be because of the Dungeons and Taverns mod. One of the two could be changing some of the generation in it. For this one, I had no idea how the best way to go about getting it would be, so I kind of just tried what I did and hoped it worked. I have set up a couple of the alarms at this point, which is unfortunate, but I try my best to just keep not setting off not the alarms, what are they called? Skulk shriekers? Yeah, the shriekers are what yell and the sensors are what detect us, I think. Please correct me if I'm wrong. At this point, I made a terrible mistake and I actually ended up summoning the Warden because I just wasn't careful about how I went about it. I'm trying to get away from the Warden at this point and I'm kind of freaking out because I'm like, how do I get out of here? Where do I go? I actually managed to make my way away from the Warden, which is great. And I end up finding some more chests to loot, which is great as well. I also like that we have more music discs to play around with because I have more music discs installed. And I went and looted some more. I have a whole bunch of armor and stuff that I'm going to probably never use, but I'll take it anyway because I have a couple of ideas for a couple of shops that we'll eventually build that I will use them for. It saves me having to use my own resources that I work hard to gather. I ended up summoning the Warden again. I'm not very good at this. Some of the looting I did just fine with, but this one particular one I struggled with badly. I then ran all the way back to the hole and tried to make my way back in, but the Warden found me, and so I'm trying to go back to my hole without being detected. I just hide here for a bit and hope that it goes away because I was so scared. I then ended up accidentally putting down my backpack when I was trying to loot the other chest, and I set the Warden off again. And he's pretty close at finding me most of the time, which is quite frustrating. Probably doesn't help that whenever I spawn him, he's like really close to me. But this is another instance where I went back pretty far. I didn't show it in this clip, but I did summon him again after getting rid of him, and he spawned on top of a roof and just got stuck spinning around. After a lovely exploration into the ancient city, I ended up making my way back up into the mine shaft, and I found a Illager hidden base, I think they're called. And so I decided to go through and have a look and see what was in store for me here. I actually got quite a decent amount of loot here. It varied between like lots of diamonds, and some nice enchanting books. I also got a lot of emeralds. I did get a totem or two from here. I can't remember which ones that I got, but I did grab a couple from here, which was quite interesting. I also didn't realize what the recipe was for, so I built it to see what it was for. I went through and looted this place quite thoroughly. I end up dying here a couple of times actually, which we're going to see that in a minute. I didn't realize that there were a whole bunch of Vexes around, as well as the Vindicators that just, like, full-on wiped me out. I then came back a third time with little to no armor and a totem to be safe because I was scared I was going to lose everything again, and I wanted to be as prepared as I could be. So I ended up going and grabbing my stuff. That little Vindicator came and scared me, so I made sure I blocked the hole off to be safe. I then continued to go through and loot. Now, these particular structures themselves, I believe, are an extension of dungeons and taverns, and therefore sometimes if my brain would work, the loot containers don't quite register that there needs to be loot in there, and there will be a bit of an issue with it. So some of the things you'll see that I try looting, the barrels most of the time will come up with a red text saying that they couldn't generate the loot, which is unfortunate, but hey. And I'm just realizing now, after looking it back, I just walked past a diamond ore block and I didn't notice. Oh well. I mean, at this point, we've got a pretty decent amount of diamonds with everything that we've looted. So I make my way through here, kill a lot of pillagers. I also have a whole bunch of Vexes that I had to kill, but they seem to be a lot easier here than most of the other illager places I've gone through. I also found that because of how far below it's situated, we also have more access to a lot of different ores that I wouldn't have access to unless if I had a very, very deep mine shaft to go through, or a deep cave. Also, on the minimap, we can see that this does link up with a trial chamber. I didn't go through and do the trial chamber though. I kind of just dug my way through to get into the pillager the hidden base. Because I actually have no idea how you meant how you meant to enter these normally. So I kind of just dug my way through so that I could get in, because I wanted to figure it out. Also, because I have a whole bunch of maps of different things, that's not the word, different structures that I wanted to go through and look at. I mainly wanted to go and do all of this adventuring, and I just realized there was another diamond ore that I didn't grab. I am so sorry. The reason why I'm doing the adventuring at the moment is because I'm kind of sort of, I know there's a lot of things I have to build, and I'm getting there. It's just taking time. And I thought having an adventure, a long adventure, would then give me the break I needed to come back after doing all the adventuring and get into doing some building. I'm also trying to set myself up in a way that I don't have to build everything at once. So like say if I'm building houses for the village project, I build one of those and then I go do something else and then come back instead of constantly making myself build the village all at once. I don't think I could tolerate that. I also found this little hidden room that I thought was really cool. I'd kill the pillager and all, but I also nearly lose my life trying to parkour, which you'll see in a second because I am terrible at parkour. Yeah, I had to have a look down there and I'm like, yep, I can make this. I'm just going to parkour over here up onto the, I can't even think of what it's called, onto the ledge, and then I fell down, and thank God I had a totem of undying, because if I hadn't, I probably would have died. So I break all these up just so I can get up and go over and have a look at the other side. Because I'm curious to see what is over here, which, you know, unfortunately there wasn't much else. Other than that one room, there was nothing else left in the pillager underground base to look at, so I ended up going and exploring some more, and I found this crypt. Now, these crypts are part of the Young's Better dungeons. And so I decided to have a quick look. I am so sorry, my words are not working today. Decided to have a quick look through and see what there was to find here. So occasionally, every couple of rooms, there would be chests. Nothing too extraordinary, but I mean, if you were doing this early game, it wouldn't be too bad. You'd get a decent amount of stuff here. At this point in time, though, I have some pretty decent tools, so it's not like I really need most of the stuff here, but I went through anyway just to check it out and experience it for myself because I've never been through one of them before. And I'm willing to take on the adventure aspect of looking at new things when mods present it. So I thought, why not? After I came out of here, I was like, oh, okay, I'm off. I pushed forward to find another pillager outpost. I can't remember what this one's called. But this was quite different in the sense that they had like a little, I don't know, like outback ranch sort of style get up, I suppose. I went through and looted pretty much all of the buildings. Not all of them have loot, but I thought I'd go in and have a look anyway. And then we can see that the tower bit is just spawned over the top of the mesa. I jumped down here because it was the quickest way to get down so that I could look at the other side. I went through and looted it again. Occasionally I would open some of the buildings and find vindicators in there, which was quite frustrating, but hey, look, this is where they live, right? Not where I live. I found this really small outpost tower that they'd built there as well. I then headed on to the main building. So most of these I looted, but they kind of just mainly had torches or food or the occasional raw form of certain minerals, which was fine. Raw form of ore would have been a better term of sentence there. So I quickly go through and loot all the other rooms because it's a maze in the bottom half that leads you to the central half. Now I found the central half early, but I wanted to keep going through and see where the other ways led, which they either lead out or to dead ends, or if not dead ends, it'd be treasure rooms. I then decided I was going to go up here and kill all of the vindicators, but some of them decided to come down the stairs. This guy just couldn't figure out how, not stairs, come down the ladder. He couldn't figure out how ladders worked, so that was fine. So I spent my time healing, and I went up, and when I went up, I found there was a Ravager up the top. And so this was quite an interesting Ravager fight. I tried hitting him from here. I don't know why I thought I could hit him from there. It was worth something. He hit me once, and I was like, I'm done. I'm going. I'm hiding. And then I tried to come back up without realizing he was right over the top of the hole until last minute. So yeah, I liked that we got a saddle from it, but I don't really need saddles at this point. I have way too many. But I actually have an idea for extra saddles anyway. So we've got more and more ideas of what we can and can't do. I don't know. I've got way too many ideas for this world, and it's crazy. But given how many projects we are currently going to be taking on, it's going to be a while before I have any more videos. But I'm doing my best. But I ended up going, and at this point, after exploring for so long, I wanted to find a village to waypoint back home, but I actually ended up finding a witch village, which was quite interesting. I then come home and decided I was just going to end off episode with making a wheat farm, just like one that's out on the cove, which coming up to newer episodes, this stays here, but it's going to have to be reworked because I had other ideas with this area instead, and now all of this work that I've done will have to be fixed up, I suppose. But you guys will see that as newer episodes come out. But this is what I've been doing lately. It's mainly been exploring and slowly doing some expanding and building. There should be more building in the next couple of episodes to come, and I hope you guys will enjoy the episodes as they come out. And I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.